this video will cover the steps on how to manage Proxim equipment SNMP passwords via PVMNS. As PVMNS uses SNMP to manage Proxim radios, it is important that SNMP credentials between Proxim radios and PVMNS be uniform. By default, the SNMP version 1, 2C, and V3 read-write login credentials of public are configured in PVMNS. If you plan to use a password other than the default, or to use separate passwords for a group of devices, we recommend making the changes to SNMP read-write passwords of each device before adding them to PVMNS. This will simplify the PVMNS configuration process by reducing the need for reconfiguration. There are three components that go along with SNMP3 credentials. The first is the Proxim radio itself. It has, of course, its own SNMP 1, 2, or 3C. Then you have the PVMNS Edit Discovery Range. Now this option is used to discover new Proxim radios. When adding the Proxim radios, make sure that the SNMP read-write passwords match the current SNMP passwords on the radio. The third is the PVMNS Edit Network Settings. This feature is used to change the network settings, i.e. the IP address and SNMP information for a specific Proxim radio. We're going to go over the PVMNS discovery setting. Now this is where you first add your radios to PVMNS. This is how it discovers them. Working under the assumption that the SNMP passwords have been changed prior to adding the Proxim radios to PVMNS, all that needs to be done is to discover the Proxim radios via this option here. And it will automatically discover the radios with the correct SNMP credentials. So in my case, we're going to go ahead and click New. I'm going to type in one IP address here, as that's what I have at this current moment. We're going to come down here. We're going to select either 1 or 2C or version 3. In my case, we're going to select V1. We're going to click New. You'll select either 1 or 2C here. Now, by default, the password is public for both read and write. I changed mine to public 1. You're going to leave the port and the SNMP timeout and retries alone. Click OK. We're going to go ahead and type in a subset name, whatever you want, what kind of subnet name you want, doesn't matter. Click OK. Now, PVMNS is going to go out and it's going to go locate the radio. As you can see, it automatically populates it over here under the topology tree. Now I have complete and utter control of the radio. If you have multiple radios in the same subnet, it's going to go ahead and locate them all, and you just control the radios from here. The Proxim radios have been previously added to PVMNS, and then you decide to change your SNMP passwords later on. There's two ways to do this. The first way would be to go each radio individually, web configuration, management, services, and then change the SNMP. Or the other way would be using PVMNS to change it via SNMP bulk operation. To do so, just click on Add Task. You do SNMP bulk. Click Next, select the radios that you want, go ahead and click Next. Now, the OID is going to be the read or write password that you want to change. For that, you're going to have to get the ProximMib. You could download the ProximMib on my.proxim.com, or it's also going to be available on the CD that comes with it. Now, the SNMP OID, of course, is going to vary between if you're going to do your read or write. Now, the easiest way to locate the OID for the read, write for your V1, 2C, or SNMP V3 is going to be look in the MIB, as mentioned. Now, here I have a MIB browser, and I have the ProximMib installed. It's going to be under Management, SNMP. Here's your read password. Here's your write password. And as you can see over here, here's the OID name. And here is all your SNMP V3 information. So in my case, what I want to do is I'm going to want to change my SNMP read and read write. So you could either do it by name or by number. OID. If you're going to do it by name or by number, make sure that you're going to add a .0. So in this case, let's go ahead and we're going to change my read. We're going to go back here. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and type in my new SNMP password. Now this is only for the read. I'm going to click next. We're going to call this SNMP. Again, you could call it whatever you want. Do a start time of whenever you want. This is going to take a commit and a reboot. So if this is a live network, make sure that you do it at a specified time that works for you. That's complete. Go ahead and click finish. Now if I wanted to run right now, I could click right now and it's going to do everything it needs to do. Then I will go back, do the same process to do my write. Then if I need to reboot at a specific time, I'll just go ahead and do another task, do a commit and reboot. Once again, select your radios and then click next. Then you're going to have to do this twice, one for commit and then one for reboot. Now once that's done, now the radios themselves have a brand new SNMP read-write password. Now that we have the SNMP password changed in the radios themselves, the next step is to tell PVMNS what the new passwords are. Now there's two components that have to be changed. The first one's going to be under Network Control Discovery. This is where we have our discovery profile. Initially, this is where you went to discover the radios. So in our case, I'm going to go ahead and select this. These are my radios. We're going to click Edit. Now remember, over here we had our initial SNMP. So I'm going to click Edit and we're going to change it to, in my case, it's going to be public 1. Everything else stays the same. And click OK. Now the profile itself is changed. Now the next step is to go ahead and go to your topology tree. Now you're going to select the radios that you want. Just hold down the control key, select the radios that you want, right click and then go to Edit Network Settings. Click on SNMP. In your read write, go ahead and change your SNMP passwords to whatever you changed it to. Now every single time that the radio and PVMNS are going to interact, they get the poles, the SNMPs are going to match, and everything is going to work just as it did before. To learn more about Proxim Wireless and our solutions, please visit us at proxim.com or follow us at Twitter at Proxim.